What's going on, guys? Wacka here. Welcome you back for our first week of playoffs in SDS. Um, we're up against SirKill, who is our opponent that we were supposed to face on week 9, and I decided to not because I got dragged away somewhere and I didn't feel like extending. I also felt like I kind of just lost anyways, and we were likely to face off in playoffs also, so um, we decided I was just gonna forfeit to him, and um, which is a good thing for me because I didn't really think I had any other way to build for this. Um, by that I mean I did have two different teams. I could have brought the one I was less comfortable with for week 9, and then hope the best from there. But I decided um, I was going to use my better team for playoffs, and um, so my team is consisting of Torn T with um, I think Wakanberry, whatever the electric berry is. Basically, what I was going to do is bait in Zapdos, click Toxic, and then you turn out. And I felt like at that point, if Zapdos was Toxic poisoned, I wasn't going to care if Torn T was like status with paralysis. And then from there, I can U-turn into my Specs Hydreigon and click. I could pretty much freely click Dark Pulse or like Flash Cannon, because he'd probably go Clefable, and then I could like Flash Cannon, but Clefable, or I could stab Dark Pulse. Once Clefable's gone, I can pretty much spam Draco Meteor, no problem. And my last move, what was my last move? Flamethrower or something? I don't remember. Maybe it was a U-turn, or it was like Specs Roost or something. I don't remember. But yeah, that is Hydreigon. Deoxys Defense, I believe, was Colbur Berry counter for Wicked Blow or Shifu. And if it decided to click U-turn into, like, I don't know, Latias, I could Colbur counter that. Or I could counter that from Urshifu's U-turn and then pretty much knock it out. He did bring Chandelure though, so he could have probably just gone Chandelure. I wasn't really sure what he'd do because that play just didn't happen. Spoiler alert. Vaporeon's specially defensive. It's meant to take on Specs Chandelure, which I expected because my speed tiers are pretty trash. I mean, I do have Hydra, Helios, Corn, but that's like kind of it for my speed. Literally everything else is pretty defensive and fat. It's Flip Turn, Wish, Protect, Haze, in case he decided to Calm Mind setup with Clefable or Chandelure, or I mean, he could set up literally anything on his Mons. He could even, like, I think there's a way to set up Zapdos, like Agility or something, but I don't know. Our Galarian Weezing is Strange Steam, I believe, Clear Smog, Defog, and Paint Split. Basically, it's meant to just switch in on Urshifu, even if it clicks U-turn. I don't really lose too much because he likely goes into Latias or Zapdos, which I wasn't too scared of. Well, I mean, Chandelure I think would also switch in, which I also wasn't really too worried about. And then we had Assault Vest Heliolisk. I think was our heat of the week was Assault Vest Heliolisk with solar power because I wasn't sure. Apparently, according to my calcs, I kind of lost to Chandelure anyways if it clicked Overheat on the Assault Vest, but mainly I was Assault Vest for Blastoise because I end up living a +2 Aura Sphere, I think, and then from there I pretty much OHKO it back with Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt into U-turn should kill it pretty much, or like Thunderbolt into Dark Pulse. I was running Thunderbolt, Dark Pulse, Surf, and U-turn. And for SirKill, he had Zapdos, Single Strike Urshifu, Latias, Chandelure, Clefable, Blastoise, and in the back he had Mega Aerodactyl, Roselia. I don't remember the rest of this team. I think he had a Porygon or something. Like normal ass Porygon. I don't remember. But anyways, let's get started. Is my music off? It is. So here I decided to lead with Torn because I figured I'm going to be faster than anything that's not Scarf. And I didn't expect him to lead Zapdos, but he did, which I guess makes sense because looking at it, Hydreigon kind of, I mean, he could live like any hit from Hydreigon probably. If then he could just go into Clefable because I'm forced to quick like Draco or Dark Pulse. Yeah, I don't know. Zapdos is a good lead for him, and my philosophy is I didn't really care too much about Torn this matchup. I was just gonna click Toxic and knock off and just kind of U-turn out. So he unfortunately misses Toxic, which I think cost him the game. If he had hit the Toxic on me, this game would have played completely different. So I decided to go into Weezing because I wanted to get my pivot into Heliolisk. I figured he really wanted to Toxic my Torn. I did not expect him to Volt Switch out, and even if he did, I wasn't really too scared of what he could bring in. So I was like, I'll just use Weezing as like my Toxic pivot and then double out into Heliolisk. And obviously that does nothing because I'm Assault Vested. I should have maybe calced if that was like offensive, because I could have played a little bit more offensively with like Hydreigon in this matchup. So I decided to go Torn because I needed to knock off its item, the Latias, because I had leftovers. So I was like, oh, it's probably already like, it's probably like Calm Mind or something like that. And then I decided to click Hurricane on the Clefable. I was kind of going for confusion because I was a little bit scared it might just like start Calm Minding because his Latias hasn't shown it yet, because yeah, he had 3 months like Calm Mind. It's weird. He gets up his rocks though, and then I'm instantly just like, oh, it's just Clefable. I'm just gonna go into Weezing and Defog, honestly. And then from there, I expected him to kind of click Shadow Ball, but either way, Hydreigon is, it checks Chandelure twice, which is really nice for me. I don't know why that Shadow Ball did so much. I mean, I guess Flame Core wouldn't build either. I figured he'd have to switch out, and I figured he'd probably go into Clefable. And now he knows that I'm Specs, and now I know he's not especially defensive. Clefable. And so I figured he'd go Zapdos as it's his Flash Cannon switch in. So I decided to go Heliolisk. Oh, he actually went Chandelure. I thought he went Zapdos. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Vaporeon's always pretty safe on Chandelure too. I figured he'd probably click Overheat this time because I think Overheat would probably knock out my Hydreigon. So there, I just decided to flip turn out, and at this point, Heliolisk can knock the Clefable out with Thunderbolt. GG Clefable. I also figured here I wanted to get some. I wanted to get some not reeds. I want to get some chip off on the Latias because I wasn't sure what set it was yet, and I knew I could live like any hit, especially Mystical Fire, because I'm not actually Dry Skin, I'm actually Solar Power. But he decides to Calm Mind. I'm like, oh shit, what do I do? So I decide to U-turn out. I think he recovers, but I go into Vaporeon. I do have Haze, thank God. Dragon Pulse isn't really doing that much, so I could actually stall out the Latias if I need to. The only way the Latias is going to beat me is if he got a Toxic off on Vaporeon. And I knew his Zapdos had Toxic, so I wasn't sure if he'd be running like double Toxic. He decides to try to click Toxic again. I know he really wants to click Toxic on me. I'm not letting him do that. I could have also hoped for a para on the Latias, but I figured I probably wasn't going to get it. I think he Calm Minds again. No, he Dragon Pulses, because I figured Torn would live a hit. I'll be completely honest, the only thing I calced in this entire game was Dark Pulse Hydreigon onto Clefable. And for whatever reason, I was calculating especially defensive because, I mean, I killed, but I also didn't want him to get a free, like, Urshifu switch in. So I opted to go Heliolisk at that time. I think that is the only calc I did, and it didn't really matter anyways because I didn't do it. I knew he'd bring in the Zapdos, and I'm like, well, I need to get the Zapdos chipped down a little bit more, and I would rather be I would rather be paralyzed, I think, than toxic poison, because I thought the Latias could probably stall me out. So I decided to double into Heliolisk again, as Heliolisk is getting a little bit low. At this point, he decides to let his Zapdos go, which makes sense. I don't remember if he had Roost. He did show me his pace. He decides to U-turn into Chandelure, and I'm like, oh shit. But I actually made a really aggressive play, and I went to Heliolisk because I was like, well, Vaporeon's kind of low. I don't really need Heliolisk anymore. I mean, Heliolisk would have been nice because he has a Blastoise still. But I don't know. I just had that feeling that he was gonna click Shadow Ball. So at that point, I just keep U-turning because I need to keep the momentum up to try to get Torn in and click knockoff. And I think here he was actually trying to. Did he Toxic me again? Yeah, he did. He really wants Torn to get Toxic Poison. And then he Rapid Spins, which kind of scares me because if you kind of look, I don't really have a Blastoise switch in. My Blastoise switch in is like Heliolisk. And I wasn't dry skin, so I was a little bit concerned about that. So I'll let Vaporeon get the Wish off, and then I believe I go into. I flip turn into Heliolisk, I think. No, I flip turn into Deoxys, and then I teleport. Yeah, he clicked Toxic. I just wanted to free switch into Heliolisk. And I thought here he was already kind of complaining about me clicking U-turn all over him. So I'm like, alright, I won't click U-turn, I'm just gonna kill your Blastoise right now. I'm really surprised I even outsped him. I guess he was just defensive Blastoise for spin. I don't know. So I decided to Thunderbolt him. And at this point, I am like, well, Heliolisk is pretty much dead. I'm just gonna go for flinches with Dark Pulse, and unfortunately I didn't get any, but I did get Latias a little bit chipped to the point where Torn can knock it out with Knock into U-turn. And I figured he might recover, but for whatever reason he opted to Dragon Pulse. So I just took the free kill on the Latios, and then I wanted him to go into Chandelure so I can go into Hydreigon and the Draco. Which was a little bit risky actually now that I think about it, but I don't know if Overheat killed me. It might have. It honestly might have. So a little bit risky on me, but Draco Meteor killed whatever was coming in, and then pretty much whatever I had left could probably take care of whatever is left. So I missed Draco Meteor, and then from there he goes Urshifu, and I click Strange Steam with Galarian Weezing. I wanted to save switch into Weezing. If he was like sub Shifu, that could have been a little bit scary because he could have stalled out Dracos. But I don't think he would have. I don't think he would have beat Torn. And even then, I also had Pulver Berry counter Deoxys. So yeah, GG's to SirKill. I didn't really expect to win this. Next week we'll be facing Beige again. Yay. That is a hard matchup for me. But I think we can do it. I think this team can carry us a little bit. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next week.